Now it's time to learn about the 4 S's of successes, 4 strategies that will help you be a better studier and see better results from the time you spend studying. The first S of successes is sequencing, meaning you're going to get ready and get organized to do your studying. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to plan and think about how we're going to get ready for class before, what we're going to do during class, and how we're going to summarize things after you've attended class. So let's think about it. What can you do to get ready for class? Some people just show up. But we know that the most effective studiers take some time to pre-plan and get ready for class. So how do you do this? Well, the most important thing you can do is do your readings and take some notes. You're probably thinking, okay, I already know how to take notes. I've been a student. Why can't I just show up to class and take notes? Well, you might not know what to expect in class. You might not know what your instructor is going to talk about. So you have to think about using your textbook and using your notes effectively. So what we need to do is think about, what did my instructor assign me? Well, probably they have some assigned readings. And if you're in a class where you have to discuss those readings, you probably read them. But if you're in a class where you know you have to read your textbook and your textbook is dry, like a chemistry or a math textbook, you're probably like, no, thank you, I'd rather not. And I don't blame you. It's not that exciting. But what you can do instead of reading every word is read effectively. Read the bold words. Look at the pictures. Think about the key terms that are used in the chapter that you're going to learn about. And look at those, because those will give you a preview of what your instructor will cover in class. Cornell notes are a really effective way to take notes on your readings that you're preparing for class. Why should you choose Cornell notes? Well, one, they're an excellent source of retrieval practice. Retrieval practice is something that really helps you remember what you read and is a proven effective technique in which you write down everything you remember from a reading in your own words. This is especially great for Cornell notes because you can put a short bulleted list in your notes to help you remember things. Another reason why we like Cornell notes is because you get repeated exposure to key ideas. You read the material, you take notes, you take a few more notes after you've gone to class. As a result, more of the ideas will gel in your head and stick around when you need to retrieve them from your brain. Another reason we love Cornell notes is they're very organized. This gives you a way to organize your notes so you can see the key ideas, they're readily available, and you can access them when you need them. Taking Cornell notes is fairly simple. At the top, you're going to write down the chapter or topic that you're reading about. Sometimes these are bulleted words from your readings, or you can look up topics on a study guide provided by your instructor. Next, you'll divide your page into a 1/3, 2/3 split. On the left-hand side of the page, you're going to write down a key word or phrase or idea. This can be from your reading or from a study guide. On the right-hand side of the page, you'll write down a definition. It's very important that you do this in your own words because this is how you access retrieval practice. Write a few bullets of the main points that you remember. Then you can leave a space to fill in information that you learned during lecture. This is a great practice to do after class, where you condense what you've learned from the instructor into something that you can easily remember. You'll keep adding to the left-hand column with additional keywords and go on down your page. On the right-hand side, keep adding space for your own summary as well as space to fill in after class. At the bottom of the page, leave room to summarize your page. It's helpful to use a bulleted list. This is where you'll write down the key points that you remember and summarize from the page of notes that you've written. You might need additional explanation or have questions or need an example. You can jot down a note to yourself in your Cornell notes to review later with your instructor or study group. So you keep yourself very organized and have planned things to do before and after class. During class, when your instructor is talking, That's when you're going to take the bulk of your notes. If they have a PowerPoint slide, you can write right on there. If they have an outline, you can fill that in as they talk. And if they have skeleton notes, fill them in as the instructor goes through them. The trick is you can't write down every single word. First of all, it's probably not humanly possible. Second of all, not everything that's said is critical for you to remember at a later time. So, how do you know what's important enough to write down? Well, there's a few things to consider. First, consider the key terms from your reading. Other things that might be helpful are learning objectives that your instructor provides you in your class. You can also just ask your instructor, what do you think are the most important points? How can I get better at figuring those out? Your instructor might also ask you to just reflect on the lecture. Finally, consider that if your instructor is really trying to emphasize something, they'll probably mention it more than once. So that's a good clue that you might see it again. Let's watch these upperclassmen in their genetics course take some notes. Notice that as the instructor is talking, she has her slides up on the projector. The students aren't writing down every word she says, but they're listening carefully and making note of things that she writes on the whiteboard. These are things that the instructor is emphasizing, so the students have learned to take note of things that the instructor is repeating or explaining in greater detail. This is something that you'll learn by practicing over time. After class, what you're going to do is you're going to put it together. Take your Cornell notes, take your class notes, and fill in the gaps. Your Cornell notes are your special place to write down what you actually learned in class in your own words, because it only makes sense once you've processed it and put it all together in a way that you can understand. But remember, the time you spend on your notes before, during, and after class is all you spending time preparing for your exam. It's a very important part of the whole process, and that's why you want to invest your time in it so that you can be an effective studier once you've left the classroom.